Intel cowboys have now realized that they have in many cases been mistreated and used as disposable pawns. They now understand that the United States government, England, NATO, and Israel often have murdered their black ops and spooky teams when they are done with them in order to keep things covered up. Take the recent example of the phony raid on an Osama bin Laden double, which was staged to fool the world into thinking the Navy SEALs killed bin Laden in his raid. It is common knowledge among Intel, as well as many citizens, that Osama bin Laden, CIA trade name Tim Osman, died in late 2001 of kidney failure. He was known to have Marfan syndrome, a genetic malady that it is believed President Abraham Lincoln also had. The way the Navy SEALs were treated as they concluded their raid on the bin Laden double was a great act of betrayal, but something America's top policymakers have been known to do habitually. Was this an act of complete betrayal? They did the very same thing to these U.S. Navy SEALs that a well-known American general ordered to be done to Pat Tillman to keep him from exposing what he discovered in Afghanistan. They ordered the helicopter transporting the Navy SEALs to be blown up and all aboard murdered. And if that wasn't enough, they later expanded their murdering to take out another large batch of Navy SEALs, ordered to get on board a decrepit old National Guard helicopter that was sabotaged. And I've done a whole lot of research on virtually everything that I've read so far, and what I'm reading is true, and it's fact. This guy died in December of 2001, not when Obama says that he killed him. Do the research, you'll find out. Unfortunately, my old channel is gone. I had a lot of videos on that research, so I can't point you in that direction. Sorry. For years, there have been rumors circulating that 12 ultra top secret black ops spooky teams operating in South America were dealt with treacherously, with an attempt to murder all of them. The top policymakers succeeded in murdering 11 of the 12 teams using high explosives planted in their radios, set off at a specially scheduled important broadcast everyone was instructed to gather around. But one of the 12 teams learned of this and escaped. And remember, these cover-up murders of deep cover black op teams are not an aberration of these top policymakers. One of them, who is still in power, was deeply involved in the decision to abandon hundreds of POWs in Vietnam and Cambodia after the Vietnam War, and the decision to use special operators and mercenaries to murder them in two separate operations. The first was to send in snipers to murder them. The cover story was that these POWs were deserters and traitors. The second operation was called Tailwind and was disclosed by Admiral Thomas Moore on 60 Minutes. In this top secret operation, specially prepared aircraft were deployed to spray lethal on-contact VX gas on the POW camps. It is well known from NSA raw data, which Russian intel obtained through Israel going back to the Vietnam War, that the NSA and the top policymakers had very detailed eye-in-the-sky satellite and spy plane data that specified the location of almost every single POW. Most American intel cowboys have connected the dots and no longer want to play the game of the organized crime cabal, nor serve as their disposable tools. And here is the most interesting part of this story. Several of the world's most powerful industrial magnates, who are able to set up their own intel and security forces with which to protect themselves and those in their employ, are now secretly backing these efforts of the intel cowboys and making sure the intel cowboys are being protected with incredibly serious worldwide backing. The apparent reason is that these men realize that this large organized crime cabal linked to the City of London banking system of fake fiat counterfeit money has a secret evil agenda to mass murder about 90% of the human population and destroy most of the big cities. These powerful men are now committed to exposing and derailing the large organized crime cabal in order to save the human race from mass death, systematic elimination, eugenics, and destruction of the world's great cities. What does this incredible awakening of the intel cowboys in America and all over the world mean? What it means is this. Many intel cowboys who were supposed to be retired have come back to work. Some are making sure many secrets are leaked, now even with support of their superiors and intel officers of high rank. Some of the world's top PSYOP experts have gone to work setting up very hard-hitting operations to fully expose and bring down this large, worldwide organized crime cabal. Fortunately, these cabal crimes can no longer be denied. There are far too many witnesses coming forth and far too many stories based on rock-solid evidence being published in British and European mainstream media. Yes, there is a large-scale, powerful effort to disrupt the investigations at Scotland Yard and the British and Belgian police, but the organized crime cabal is failing in their massive cover-up of their pedophile trafficking and abuse system of young children, which is worldwide and especially rampant behind the scenes in England, Belgium, America, and Israel. And yes, there is a whole lot coming out about these pedophile rings in the UK that involve these high-level politicians. The evil, the sickness of these people it's real, but it's just incomprehensible. But you can just do a search. Britain pedophilia is what I put in, and you will see all of these articles, Washington Post, and this is mainstream media beginning to expose these pedophile rings. And many of these articles are just this year, but there's more coming out, much more coming out. And some of those children who were trafficked into these rings are now coming out also talking about it. You can do a search in YouTube also and come up with a lot of videos on all of this. I mean, this guy, Jimmy, well, his name is Savile, but I call him Savile. He's so incredibly vile. It's, so yes, you can come over here and many of these are also, alternative kind of mainstream media videos. Pedophile rings among Britain's political elite. It's if you haven't done any research on how sick these, call them whatever you want, the Illuminati, the elite, the royals in Britain. I mean, these people are so profoundly psychopathic, so profoundly disturbed. They're not human. I mean, when you realize what they do, what they have done, especially to these children, they're not human beings. They have the appearance of humans. They have the appearance that they're oh so good and smart and, well, we're just the elite and we get to rule. But inside, they're evil. They're decrepit. They're soulless. All right, I'll stop. I'm sorry. But yeah, so please do the research. Clear intelligence linking powerful pedophile ring to UK Parliament government and number 10. Many of the intel cowboys around the world have finally connected the dots that the current terrorist acts and wars all over the world have been pre-engineered, staged, and set off by a large bankster-connected worldwide organized crime cabal that specializes in mass death, terrorism, and wars created for massive profit generation for the banksters and their associated defense contractors, in which they own controlling interests. An interesting result has occurred in response to this widespread but individual realization by so many intel cowboys from all over the world that they have been played by the large international bankster-related organized crime cabal which is controlled by a few top policymakers. Some have even figured out that the very top policymakers comprise a small circle of 12 centered in Denver, Colorado, and that they head and run a large worldwide organized crime cabal called the Syndicate. Some realize that under existing American federal law, this organization is the largest operational RICO crime syndicate in America. We know for sure that a bankster-related and supported worldwide organized crime cabal has gained a stranglehold on America, its Congress, 5 of the 9 Supreme Court judges, many U.S. federal judges, the U.S. Department of Justice, and a portion of the U.S. military. And what we are seeing today, how many are in Congress, are so-called representatives and senators who are shredding the Constitution right before our very eyes. They have to be blackmailed. But as you listen further on in this article, you'll get to see how people in power positions are actually going through these initiation rituals. Well, listen on. It's really pretty sick. And yeah, I do believe that this actually occurs. We know that this organized crime cabal has used Senator John McCain and 2 American generals to assemble ISIL, Daesh, aka Al-Qaeda version 2, aka, I think this is artificial intelligence, CIA version 2. 1 American general made sure that numerous large heavy weapons and ammo dumps were left hidden in plain sight in Iraq for ISIS, Daesh to immediately take possession of. We also know that this organized crime cabal maintains almost absolute control over its members and coerces them to betray their country, their constitution, Bill of Rights, fellow humans, children, and even in many cases, their own children and spouses. It is vitally important that the methods they use to maintain control of their subordinates be fully exposed publicly so that the organized crime cabal system of control, which has corrupted the American rule of law, is deconstructed, disassembled, and stopped cold. One of the ways in which we do this is get the information out, circulate the information, talk to your fellow Americans who are still sleeping, slap them upside the head, get them awake somehow.